Hi, this is Gary back with you from West Family RV Adventures. If you watched the latest video, you watched us install a couple bunk fans for the girls, 12-volt bunk fans, and in an effort to keep things KOOL, cool for the girls. And as we had mentioned probably in that video, we're getting ready to leave on a 4,700-mile round trip, East Coast road trip. We're going to leave this Friday, which is just 5 days away, so we're really busy getting ready for the trip. So what we're going to be doing today, or what I actually did do today, was install a new MaxxAir 4000K ceiling vent fan. I want to tell you something. You can't believe everything you see or hear on the internet. That's for darn sure. Now, we're from the state of Maine, beautiful state, cold in the winter, warm in the summer. But in Maine, you know, it never really gets much higher than 95, 96 degrees on the hottest days of the summer here in Maine. But I've been watching a weather service down in the East Coast on the way we're going. And I found this weather service that's very reputable. I mean, they seem very reputable. And from what I understand is, once you get below Pennsylvania in July and August, exterior temperature 427 degrees Fahrenheit, and inside an RV 1,525 degrees Fahrenheit. So stay with us and see what we're doing to make it through that. All right, let's take a look at our inventory. Here's the star of the show, the MaxxFan Plus 4000K. This has the manual opening, not a power opening. And also, this one does not come with a remote control. You can get that option for a higher price. So here it is. Still got the wrapper on it. There's the fan. That's a lot larger than the existing factory fan that came with our RV. You'll see that in a moment. Here's the trim cover for underneath the ceiling of the RV. After we install the fan, we're also going to be putting on the MaxxAir vent cover, and this will allow us to run the fan in the rain, so that'll be a great thing. Here are some clips that came with it to fasten the vent cover down. And I'm looking forward to this. To get all the lap sealing up, I'm going to be using a putty knife and a razor blade. So that's going to be the first thing, so we can get the old fan off. Then when we get ready to install the new fan, we're using some vent insulation kit, or butyl tape they refer to it as. And then once it's all screwed down and fastened down, we'll be using this waterproof lap sealant to keep everything watertight. You will need an assortment of drill sizes, because you do need to drill some holes in the MaxxAir vent cover, I believe. So honorable mention on the inventory lineup, rechargeable drill. I have some nut fittings on there too, and some electrical supplies, and a couple toolboxes. So let's get rolling. Okay, here we are at the top of the RV, looking down at the old vent cover. So it looks like the first thing to do is to get this old lap sealant up. And from what I understand, that is the most difficult part of the whole project. Everything else is pretty simple. But this requires quite a bit of elbow grease. So time to put these bad boys to work. Well, let's give this scraping a try. I can see that this is going to be a long go. So I'll probably shut the camera off and spend an hour getting this off, and we'll give you an update shortly. I don't think it's going to take an hour to get the cover off. I got smart. I just realized that just remove the adhesive right by the screws, because this whole thing's going to be thrown out anyway. So the only clean job I'm going to have to do is the adhesive on the roof. So we'll see if I can get this off quicker than I thought. So it only took me about 5 or 10 minutes to work my way around the perimeter and try to uncover all of those fasteners. They have a square drive on them, so I'm going to have to get my toolbox out, get the right size, and I'll be right back and we'll see if we can remove those. You know, if you're anything like me, the most difficult part of any project is not actually doing the work, but trying to figure out where you left your tools. So that's me. Alright, well, these look like they're coming out just fine with a square drive bit on my rechargeable drill. So I'll get these all out and we'll proceed. Wow, I don't know if it was overkill or not, but it's like 26 screws on that vent flange. Seems like that's a lot more than was shipped with a new one than Max here, but we'll find out. Well, there it is. Looks like one big ugly marshmallow mess. Looks like chaos at the s'mores campfire. Anyway, I guess I'll go down and unhook my power, pull that out, and I guess I'll be scraping for a while here on the roof. So I've only been about 10 minutes or so scraping the prior sealant off. I had bought a razor blade and this putty knife. I don't think I'm going to have to use a razor blade because it's coming off pretty well, but it's real messy. It's going to take some patience. It's real gooey, and just to get it off your putty knife, I'm doing this with one hand, and then it sticks to your fingers and kind of a mess. I saw one video online where a guy did an awesome video, really beautiful job installing it, but he said that the scraping took him with a razor blade and everything about 3 hours. I'm guessing, I'll have to go back and look at his video, but he probably had cooler temperature that day and it might have taken him a long time. But it's really hot up on the roof today. I'm in the middle of July, and maybe that's making the sealant come off easier for me. So keep that in mind when you do your project. If you do it in the fall or in cold weather, you might want to bring a extension cord and a hair dryer up on the roof with you. Maybe that'll help you if you heat the sealant up. So I'll continue on. I actually did end up using the razor blade, but not on the roof membrane. I was afraid of damaging it. I just used a razor blade to try to scrape keep the putty knife clean by scraping the sealant off it. It's so sticky, it's hard to pull off with your fingers. Here you can see it's all piled up and on this piece of cardboard, but I'm working my way through. Got a little more cleanup to do. I'm not sure how aggressive I want to get at scraping that, if it all has to come off or not. I'm going to think about that for a moment, because again, I'm just want to make sure I don't get aggressive and slice this roof membrane with my putty knife. So, moving on. I forgot to film a couple items before I started, but I placed the fan down, hinge side forward, and centered it up, and then I traced around with my pen, and then pulled it back out, turned it upside down, and ran the butyl tape. You can see it's all gone, pretty much all gone. ran the tape around the lip and then set it back down. So now before I fasten the screws, I'll go downstairs and hook up the wiring and make sure everything works fine. So here they're all there is for the wiring. Here's the power coming from the RV. Here's the power from the fan. I'll hook these up and give it a test. Well, I tested the electrical downstairs inside the RV with with Mrs. West, and it's a go. So we're excited. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on with the install and put the screws in and move on with the lap sealant. Got a few of the screws in. Got the tension set so it stops. I don't want to drill through the plastic. A few more to put on. All right, I've got all my screws in, and there were quite a few screws, more than I thought. There were screws that came with the fan cover, and also there were screws suggested to be put in an additional with the butyl tape. So I think I have more screws than the original install. So I'm going to go ahead and start covering those up with the Dicor self-leveling lap sealant. We'll see how it goes. Got to be careful here. I don't know how much is in a tube. I got a lot of screws to cover. I need to make sure I get the perimeter of the flange afterwards. Alright, well I think it's on. It's not too pretty, but I guess it's supposed to level. So I'll take a little break and I'll come back up here and see how much it's leveled. We'll see what happens. I think I need to let that level and set up before I can put my vent cover on. So on to another project for an hour or two. Well, I took a break from the roof vent and installed some brand new LED low beam and high beam headlights on my F-150. Just trying to let this self-leveling membrane settle up. It's not beautiful, but I think I've got all the screw holes covered. And I think I'll be good enough. It should be smoother than that. But anyway, I want to get on with it. We have rain coming. In part 2, I want to install the Max Air vent cover so that we can run this vent in the rain. So let's wrap it up. One thing I just quickly noticed is that this vent opens higher than the vent cover. So what have I done? Did I order the wrong vent cover? Or do I just not open the door as far as it can go? Time out. Here's another look from this angle. You can see that the vent lid can open higher than the vent cover. Need to do some research. So today's Max Air vent install project comes to a standstill. The last part to do was going to be to put the vent cover, the vent rain cover on top, but the model that we purchased is not the correct one or the best one for this particular Max Air 4000K. You'll notice clips here on the side, 2 clips, and you can't see it, but there's 2 more clips on the other side of the vent fan. And Maxxair makes a particular model, I think they call it an easy clip, that snaps right on. No drilling, no fuss, no nothing. So we're going to go ahead and get that one, and we're starting an East Coast road trip here on Friday, and I think the first Camping World we pass along the route, we'll go ahead and grab one and finish the install. Thanks for watching. Oh, one more thing, forgot to show you the inside of the install. Got the plate all installed, and let's see if I can figure out how to operate this. This is a manual open. So you just turn this wheel and it opens right up. And here's the panel here. Feels good. I can feel it pulling the air. So this fan functions both, pulls air out through the roof, and you can also reverse it and pull air in, and it has 4 speeds. So I think it'll be a big improvement. Looking forward to using it. If you want to change the speed, it's 1, that's 2, 3, I guess that's 4. And if you want to reverse directions, you just push here. It'll pause for a couple seconds, and then the fan will go on the other way. Now it's blowing in. So shut that off. Again, this wheel, just turn it clockwise to bring the down, and then you just push up and it locks it. Another project done.